for illumined life to be birthed into form. I am the truth. I am the light. Illumined, beloved, divine.
So hello there everyone and welcome. Happy Easter. Today is Easter Monday, and as you can see, I'm here in this gorgeous, beautiful spot. I'll try to share a video towards the end. This spot just means so much to me, and since it is not just Easter Monday or the day of resurrection, but it is also my mother's birthday today, it just happens to fall on this date. I wanted to spend just a few moments with you here today. It's not going to be a long video, but I want to tell you this amazing transmission. I want to tell you about it that we had today. Our day was pretty active, and since the last few years as you know, of our journey of our life have not really been so easy, we haven't really had much of that fun on this day, which for me is very sacred because it is my mother's birthday and she means the world to me. And today was just this perfect day. You know, we worked around the house. We just started doing things around our house because Easter represents that elevation of the energy when nature really goes into that lift-off mode. And we started doing the work with the grass, with the leaves, trimming the hedges, things like that. And it just brought so much elevation to my body. When I do things outside with earth, when I dig into the ground, I get very hyperactive, you know. Of course, I'm kind of the scatter bunny. I go around and a little here, a little there. But that's just how I am. I'm very hyper in my energy. So after this, we went to one of our favorite spots and went to eat something. And then we came here to the river. And it was interesting because during our transmission in the morning, we received a message from my mom's Illumined beloved that, you know, it's going to be an interesting day. So we went here and we came here and someone left a fire here. So we found a fire, and literally I had to do some videos on my Telegram page with the fire because this was like a gift from the divine. You come across and there's a fire, and before it was this huge winds and we were kind of cold, and then the fire was there, and then we just decided to start building on the fire. And we started adding to the fire and just playing like two goofy children, and it was just beautiful. So my intention with all of that going on, which of course leaves my inner child very in the zone, you know, and there's of course some people here, so I'm gonna have to be really fast. I just wanted to put across a message that I received today, and the message I've been receiving for a while now was that during this time of the Easter, there's going to be a powerful gateway, especially for the people, for the souls who are not yet heart awakened, which means primarily they've been living their life through the mind. And my family of light, Aurea, right, recently talked to me about this process they call the illumination awakening, or the translation of illumined codes through the etheric body double. And it didn't make much sense to me before things actually started to unfold. So what actually took place was that I had a vision, right? I had like a premonition, and then they confirmed that to me today, exactly on the day of the Easter. I shared a very interesting coffee cup, which is sometimes how we get esoteric, very deep metaphysical messages. And I shared it, as I always do, this little snippets here and there on my Telegram page, as well as readings and all of that. But the message was very deep, and they showed me a process how beings, right, who were not soul awakened yet, and they really wanted that, they really longed for that, and yet their ego kind of kept them bubbled in, which means if you have layers around you that the soul cannot penetrate through, and the illumined beings, the illumined ones, we can't move right through beings like that, even though they have a soul calling and they have a true desire to awaken. And just last week I went on a mini nature retreat for a day, and I plugged off, and then I was asking some questions to my team, and they said that this awakening has to happen now. They said it's kind of like now or never, because things have changed. And I was like, how did they change? And they confirmed today that things change for the better. So I think, and I'm assuming that lots of souls that had either an opportunity to wake up now or maybe in the next life, this kind of got shorted for them, and they've gotten the increased divine dispensations of light during this time of, you know, when I talk to you about there being a prolonging extension of time given as an opportune time for these soul beings. So I didn't yet know how this would happen because we can't do much physically, right? And even energetically. So they were showing me how the heart of someone needs to be open enough for that miracle to occur, because even as the Illumined translation occurs through your etheric body twin or your energetic double, they call this process the implantation of the body double, which is literally our energetic self. I, as Aurea, on the what I call the energetic side or the other side, I often have visions and premonitions what I do there with my energy. There's even like a being we worked with very specifically. It's like a prototype of this work for me, and I was learning a lot through this process, and it didn't make sense to me, where does the seed of illumination, where does the illumined seed go? And today they confirmed that the illumined seed goes into the energetic body double. And when the time comes for a being, let's say for someone's physical self to have that awakening, it has to be like the events leading their entrapped still ego self, which is kind of causing a shell around their body, so this cannot happen. So they're talking to me about feelings. They said they need to feel the feelings. And as in, you know, most cases with people who are kind of like, they want to bypass their feelings and go very quickly into their mind, they're kind of trying to prolong this process. And as I've explained before many times, a lot of these beings are doing that almost like automatically to not face all the pain and the frustration that's still there. You know, a lot of beings have, when they see what's really been happening, right, and how they've been prolonging the inevitable, some of them might have feelings of, wow, a wasted lifetime, or how much time wasted, and that kind of saddens a person. And this is not the intention of illumined beings, for someone to feel an extra amount of sadness. Their amount of these light dispensations is always aimed towards someone having an epiphany that is kind of like that aha moment that really, I call it a shake-up that's a wake-up, right? So they were showing me how something needs to penetrate this shell. And sometimes this is usually a heartbreak or a situation that for them it's devastating, or it's just a shock. Because we always, as humans, we associate shocks with something terrible. But in terms from the awakening perspective, this shock is often needed for a person to, like, at least allow a little amount of that energy in that has to kind of provoke them. So my family of light recently talked to me with regards to this situation I was in, and I was observing, and I was entangled with as Aurea. And of course my physical self feels everything because I'm all one, right? And they were showing me about the period of provocation that needs to occur. And then suddenly I was doing lots of my inner physical body shifts in my body. Like, for example, last week I felt this agitation, and then I had to run this whole circle around this area, and I was sharing with you some of the aspects on my Telegram page, some of the aspects of my human life. But everything I do, even the most random things, are for energy completion. Like sometimes I need to open up a gateway, sometimes I need to close a gateway. And a lot of things we do as illumined beings here on earth, like representatives of these higher legions of light that are angelic, everything about us, as I've shared before, is encoded. So they would tell me, go here, sit there. I was already in my car last week, and I was driving, and I felt this agitation, and something told me to stop, and I went to this meadow. I walked the whole circle, and before that I did a prayer. I entered my heart, and just, you know, I was letting that opposing energy that was provoked and in that agitation state, I was telling it to just let go, let go, you know, move with light, accept life. And all of a sudden I got up, and the message was, the provocation's over, it ended. And then from this period onward, they were showing me that everything we've done so far has been about these reversals, right? So sometimes souls that have asked to receive these awakenings, they were kind of shocked because things look like they're going in one direction. But behind the scenes, remember, illumined beings are super intelligent. Something bigger was in the works. And their ego mind was not supposed to be aware of that, because the ego, as you know, tries to prevent these things from even happening. That's how the ego works, to defend itself, to defend its position until the last moment. You know, it's kind of like you've already lost the battle, so why are you trying to win this war? Because it's not going to be successful, because ego is always in war with itself, right? It's basically, an endless entrainment of the programs of separation that have been running for eons of time. So I've explained for a lot of these souls that somehow could make that first step, which was very difficult for them, and in their life circumstances, it's almost like being so rooted in them that they didn't know what else to do, how to think differently, how to expand their perceptions. And it was very difficult for beings like that. And yet they felt the longing, the calling to this higher path as well. They just didn't know how to bridge from this realm and this world to this one, right? So the bridging is actually done through their energetic twin, which is literally the energetic body. And first time I was awake and aware of my own work, oh yeah, of course, we were planting the illumined seed in this, what we call the energetic doubles, in the energetic body. So that's why I had these experiences and visions, but they were not the same as experiences, for example, I would have with a physical person, right? So now it was a message about 3 days, and that of course does align with Easter, right? 3 days. And there was Phoenix there as well, which is about transformation and resurrection. And so much was there. I just need to throw a stone right now, for some reason. That I was just stoked. And they were showing me how everything behind the scenes was focused on this work. And a lot of us could move to other aspects of our life because we gave our agreement to God that that's what we're going to do with the souls who really felt the need, the calling. But what was really fascinating to me is when I was on my daily retreat by the mountain river, they gave me this phrase, and I was like, why is this so important now? Why? And they literally said to me, what happens in this realm determines the next one. It's like these experiences, these awakenings that still need to occur, that we're still as illumined ones waiting for specific beings to make that leap jump. It's that all determines the next realm. You know, I talk about the new ascended realm, and it's almost like if this doesn't happen, then, you know, it's kind of like they're working on the bigger picture. So what we were doing together is getting these souls who are literally in this karmic wheel. They couldn't get off the wheel because they were so stagnant in their circumstances. It's almost like, you know, this situation when that's all you've ever known. You want something else, but you don't have the tools how to create it. And when someone would offer it to you, you're like, no, I don't want it, because of the ego problem, right? You feel less than, or you feel like the comparison, or all these things. And this work was still happening behind the scenes, and this work is honorable because I always tell people, don't tell me what to do, because I know what I'm doing, because God gives me the instructions, and I walk with the Illumined Masters, and I know what they're showing me each time that we're passing the next stage. So when they show me this, it kind of aligned with my mother's vision, which she got last summer, about this awakening, which happens in almost like sleep mode, when someone wakes up in the dream realm and this inner planes, and they go like, oh wow, and suddenly it's like their true self is back. It's like they exit this false self, this illusory self, and it's a miracle, right? That's for me what resurrection is about. And then they remember, and they receive all these suppressed codes, all this what they were, because their energetic double, their energetic twin already has all of that. And our work has been to plant the seed of illumined life in this template into their energetic doubles. Hence we work behind the scenes, which is the inner planes work. Most of my work is the inner planes work, right? So as a human, I then just connect with this intelligence and let it guide me through the steps. And they're telling me words, phrases, and sometimes, as I told you, they give me words and phrases that I would hardly understand as a human. I know about these words, but I'm not using them, for example, in my day-to-day vocabulary, right? Need to throw another stone. Yeah, see? It's kind of how this goes. And I was so excited today because they were all telling me that they're still hopeful about these positive changes. And some of them were really difficult nuts to crack, because I'm just gonna say it like up front as it is, some of these souls, let's just say they were really stuck. Really stuck. First, by all the entrainment that occurred and the programming through the darkness, all the inception work, and then as a result, the traumatization of the inner child that, you know, helpless and hopeless, but feeling like a victim, and when help is offered, they don't want. And some of them maybe have chosen a harder path. They wanted to feel this isolation, because sometimes, you know, Jesus gave us once this beautiful example that if it's not bad enough, and you're going to be up to here, and you're still living and breathing, but then when it gets up to here, then it's literally like dragging through the mud. And these experiences are sometimes difficult, but remember, again, God has a plan of awakening for every soul that wanted to wake up in this life. And people might say, well, I'm aware of the spiritual circles, I'm aware of this, so I'm listening or I'm watching these videos, but that's not in itself implying that you are in your body awake to your illumined self, to your true nature, to your energetic twin. So that's really what the twin experience is. And so this gave me some kind of an honorable feeling and this humility towards this calling, this mission, that was now a priority. And sometimes as a human, I was devastated because I didn't want it to be. I wanted to like, okay, let's move on to the next chapter. And it's like, no, now we're here. But it feels like what they were telling me is very important. And what they said, things change since, let's say, we last planted certain seeds. And they explained today that this changes for the better. So obviously, this alignment, right, is causing shift. So what I wanted to say before, but I didn't finish, is that when these souls were encircled and they were kind of entrapped and trained in this karmic reality that you're kind of spinning, and a lot of these souls have lifetimes when they never grew. It was kind of like repetition lifetimes. They didn't have a lifetime in which they awake and do something different. And now this lifetime is changed. It's different for them. And a lot of them, because being a little reserved, still have a little bit of the, you know, when you have an aversion to change, and a lot of them have that. This is how you recognize souls that are kind of still harbored, and they've kind of created piles and piles of rubbish around them, and it's difficult to reach these souls. But God wanted to reach them, and it did this through us, the illumined beings. And we've placed them in our own unions. We went into our own unions with these beings, and we've been creating this alchemical work. Spirit said this is alchemical union work that's now happening behind the scenes, that is causing the change. And for me, this is magical. So from this entrained reality, all we needed to do is get them to a spiral, right? Because the path, when you start ascending, so take that first step towards a newness, a new life, a life that is ascension self-based, ascended reality-based. It's not karmic anymore. And imagine that it's difficult for souls who they've known just that for quite a long time. Many of them are even starborn souls, but they've forgotten. And these were like the hardest ones to reach. That was a part of our training protocol and my mission training work. And let me tell you, this was the most difficult 2 years in my life doing this work. And simultaneously, right, doing my own transgression, release, and healing work. So now my healing is complete. So I know that I'm well aware that my connection is back, and it's like full-time, and it's like being full-time employed and getting messages all the time, and then I need to properly assimilate them. So today was really beautiful because it aligns with the Easter timeline, which is kind of magical. So I wanted to share this magic with all of you who are here listening, paying attention, and birds. Just want to do one more. I just love throwing stones in the river. It's one of my favorite pastimes. So that's about it. I don't want to go too much into the details. I've recorded 2 long transmissions on Patreon during the Easter, so my Easter was pretty working. I did a lot, and I just felt like this needed to come out for the group of those who are closer to this understanding than others, perhaps. But you don't have to understand this to not be aware and to be in awareness that it is happening, right? So it is happening, and it's a beautiful process. And I think it's magical. So I want to share at the end the fire we witnessed, and we kind of helped to expand. And then we're going to take a walk and do a little sacred circle to complete our beautiful day. We're kind of on an adventure today. It's like, what's next? What are we going to experience next? Oh, we walked into a fire. Who did it? Who created this fire? Oh, it doesn't matter. We own it now. It was like this. It was hilarious. And I don't know. It's such good energy right now. And I wanted to really record this here. I don't have a microphone. This was so spontaneous, but we're going to have some rainy days now coming in, and you know, you can't really record on those days. And I have some work to do from, you know, from now on. As you know, I do individual one-on-one work too. So sometimes I need to do that and put that as a priority. But I just really wanted to share this message with you. That's kind of like how we're doing the things behind the scenes now, because usually during sleep time, these beings, they were telling me that the translation of the codes of the energetic twin or the energetic body or the energetic double will start to pour down. But this couldn't have happened if there's not a little inkling. There had to be at least a little inkling of an opening within the ego self or the 3D density self, so that this higher self can now reach them. And that's the reason why we work with their energetic selves, for them to receive first. So when they're ready, this would translate. So it's like a translation of Illumined light codes. I still hope that one day, I think it has to be more spring-like and beautiful and warm. I would do, because you know, it is, you are working with the vocal cords, that I would do a Seraphim transmission of sacred sound codes for the Illumined Shaktipat, or a translation of Illumined light codes. That might come next. I don't know, you know, I'm just having all these ideas, and my life is finally so full of creative bursts and just knowing what to do, because alignment is back full time, full on, and life is just one big adventure. So I hope you enjoyed this message, shorter today, so gotta get going now. I'm gonna show you the fire and some landscape, but until we meet again, have a beautiful rest of your Easter, whatever came into your realization, in your epiphanies, in your advancement, you know, it's what had to happen. So don't resist it, don't fight it, be with what is, don't resist life. I know that, you know, I'm just doing what I'm called to do, and I'm really always eager. Every day we sit in transmission and I ask them, what's changed, you know, what's new, and I just have to know, you know, I'm being like the Illumined detective here as a human. So anyway, if you want to get more readings and fun times with me, join my Telegram page of Ascension Pioneers. Same name, same title, same me, but a little different, a little more humorous. And I'll see you when I do. So with so much love, wisdom, and power, take care, and until we meet again.